Well, hello again, sports bettors. It's Jonathan here from the School of Bets. And in this video, we're going to take a look at over and under totals betting. We're going to give you 5 tips to help you improve when betting on that market. What is over and under totals betting? It's simply where a bettor wagers on whether the total points in a game will finish over or under an arbitrary line that is set by the sportsbook. It's got nothing to do with the outright winner. It only focuses on the points scored in a game. So for example, if you look at the NFL, the sportsbook may set the total points for a game at 48.5 points. So the gambler or the bettor will then wager on whether the points in the game will go over the 48.5, which is 49 or more, or under the 48.5, which means 48 or less points pays out towards the under. It's quite simple. It's very, very difficult to master. So how do sportsbooks decide on what the line is going to be for the over and under totals betting? Well, it's simple. They crunch the numbers and then they adjust for variables. So they'll look at variables such as points for and against for both teams, particularly weighing up how one team's offense will match up against one team's defense and the styles of play. They'll look at recent form, for instance, the last 5 weeks or so, and weigh that more heavily than form prior to that. They'll also adjust for things such as the weather or changes to roster and the venue that the game's being played at. Sportsbooks will then wait on the initial betting that occurs on that line. So they'll decide on a line, but then as sharp money starts to roll in, and from bettors that they really respect or they are kind of wary of, that they know are long-term winners, they'll wait for that money to come in. If a particular bettor goes hard at, say, the unders, then the sportsbook might decide that they've put the line in at a too high a point and readjust for that sharp money. Likewise to the overs, if the money comes from respected bettors to the over and heavily to the over, then they may move that line up. Even if more money has come to the unders from bettors that they have less respect for, they will carefully monitor where that sharp money is coming, and they will fine-tune their adjustments to that line. As you can see, there's so many variables at play in over and under totals betting. That's what makes it hard for a bettor to consistently win, but it also offers opportunity for you to spot a mistake that the sportsbook's made where you don't think their analysis is as good as yours, and you can hit that target. So is over and under totals betting skill, or is it actually just gambling? Is it a lottery? Well, it is gambling in the sense that if you do no research, if you simply just log on to your sportsbook and check out a game 10 minutes before the game starts and just decide, well, I'm just going to bet on the overs because I hope there's going to be a lot of points scored today, then you're gambling. There's no research and there's no analysis. There is skill involved though, and there are bettors out there who can consistently win on the over and under totals betting. And there's a few ways they do it, but it involves due diligence, it involves research, it involves analysis, and it involves monitoring sportsbooks and how they adjust their lines compared to other sportsbooks and trying to find the best number. So there is skill involved, but it's gambling for those recreational bettors who pay no interest or don't do their due diligence. Let's check out 5 tips to help you improve your over and under totals betting. Tip number 1 to help you improve your over and under totals betting is to understand the half point, why it's offered, and how you can use it to your advantage. Sportsbooks offer a half point or a hook to prevent there being a push or a tie. A push or a tie means that the bet would be refunded, and for sportsbooks, that's not ideal. They can't take their margin. They must refund all bets. So therefore, they prefer there to be a result. For you as the sports bettor, if you bet totals for any length of time, there's going to be times where you lose by the half point, and there's going to be times where you win by the half point. Often, if you can get that edge in your favor, then that's going to be the difference between a long-term losing bettor or a long-term winning bettor. It really does come down to those half points or a point here and there. So you've got to understand the half point. Now, here's the thing you need to do. Let's use our example of 48.5 points being the total in the NFL. If you are waiting around for 48 points as the line, you think the game is going to set at 48 points, you do not bet the market unless you can get the 48.5. If you want to bet the unders, you wait for the 48.5. So you're betting the unders with the half point coming off the number so that you get 48 as a win and not a push, or worse still, a loss. That means 6 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and you're still a winner. So you need to monitor that half point. It's so easy to overlook that because you just really, really want to get action on a game. And so you just, in the end, settle for a number that is that half point less or even the full point less. You've got to understand what the hook is and you've got to bet accordingly. If the number's not there for you, then you need to sit out. Do not put that money at risk if you're not happy with the number. So the number 2 tip to help you improve your over and under totals betting is to bet with multiple sportsbooks. Now this fits kind of into the first tip that we gave you because we're talking about that half point or finding that best number. Well, you're going to do it by betting with multiple sportsbooks. If you just bet with the one book, you are kind of a slave to the number that they offer. Now, that number may fluctuate and at times you may get a number that's better than what you'd hoped or so on. But if you've got multiple sportsbooks, you're going to find the variance and you can bet with or take that number that you like. Now, with over and under totals betting and assuming minus 110 odds, don't bet with minus 114s and minus 112s, etc. like that, those sorts of numbers. Bet with the minus 110, but for the sake of this example, assume that's the number. Those odds aren't going to change. It's the number that's going to vary. So if you're betting with multiple sportsbooks, you're going to get the best number. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to open accounts at multiple sportsbooks, get yourself a sign-up bonus so you get some free money to bet with at the start. School of Bets has some awesome sign-up bonuses. Check the video notes or go to schoolofbets.com, get those sign-up bonuses. We've got a really good one with PointsBet. You can bet with 50, deposit 50, bet with 150. Just use the code FREEBET50 when you sign up or hit the link that's in the video notes. Bet with some free money, use multiple sportsbooks and get the best number you possibly can. Number 3 tip to help you improve your over and under totals betting is to understand that the total includes overtime. So we'll continue to use the NFL as our example. In this case, the over is sort of favored to some extent in that if there's overtime, more points are going to be scored and that can be enough to push that total game points over the line. Now, I would like you to be a bit contrarian about this. This is my tip. In games where teams are evenly matched, there is the chance that the number is slightly inflated, just ever so slightly inflated, because of that chance or increased chance of overtime. Now, I want you to fade the overtime as best as possible. In the NFL, only 6 to 7% of games go to overtime. And in fact, amazingly, that number is the same in the NBA. Fade the overtime, look for the unders in an evenly matched game, and assume that sportsbooks have factored in the chance of overtime in their number, and it may just be that half point or point higher than it possibly should be. Fourth tip to help you improve your over and under totals betting is to look at alternate totals that are offered by sportsbooks. So when you go to look at the over and under totals betting, underneath that on your mobile app, your sportsbook app, you are going to see alternate lines that you can bet. Now, they're there, and okay, at times we understand that sportsbooks probably take, for the benefit of taking an alternate line, they probably take a slightly bigger margin. We understand that. However, if you are super confident about a game going to the over, for instance, going to the over, then you can go find an alternate line where the line is potentially slightly higher, and as a trade-off, higher odds. You may be more confident. You may say, I think this is going to really fly over this game, so I'm going to take the slightly higher odds, slightly higher line, get the higher odds, increase my payout. Higher risk, higher reward. The opposite can happen for the line in the sense that you want to bet the overs, but you think that you're not so confident about the number. You can take the slightly adjusted line that's slightly lower, smaller odds, admittedly, but some insurance there with those numbers. Okay, so by taking the lower number, you have some insurance, lower risk, lower reward, but it may just be the angle you want when you're not so confident about the line. Of course, that scenario can be totally flipped around too for the unders. So take a look at the alternate line, get to understand it, and then you just factor that in. Don't just straight away go to the over under arbitrary line at minus 110. Check out the alternates because you may just find some value there that you were missing on the original line. The fifth tip to help you improve your over and under totals betting is to go to PointsBet Sportsbook and try their feature points betting. We've got a whole video on points betting you can check out here. Here's the link to it. It is a high risk, high reward style of betting that actually favors people who look at bets like over and under totals. Again, we'll use the 48-point example from the NFL. In points betting, if you're confident about, for instance, the under, you will get paid multiples of your stake based on the amount of points that you actually covered that bet or you won that bet by. So if the line is at 48 and you get to 45, you've won at 47, 46, 45. That's 3 times your stake in a payout. So it's higher risk, higher reward, because the flip side to that is if it blows over, then you are going to have to pay multiples of your stake out. But if you like over and under totals betting, if you're confident at it, or if you're improved at it, try points betting from Sportsbook. As I said before earlier in the video, you can get a sign-up bonus with School of Bets to go to PointsBet, use some free money, deposit 50, bet with 150, use the code FREEBET50 when you sign up, and you're going to get that free money to just take a shot at points betting. And you never know, it might become your favorite style of betting. It may be the thing that you do all the time anyway. That's my tip. If you're confident about over and under totals betting, check out points betting from PointsBet. It really is worth it. That's it. That's our 5 tips for betting the over and under totals. There's so much more sports betting wisdom that's just not that common at schoolofbets.com. Get over to schoolofbets.com to check all of that stuff out. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Jonathan, and I'm going to see you next time on the School of Bets.